welcome back to my channel and to another video in the Living in a Fantasy series, a series that I decided to create to give people a little bit of insight into what it's like working for Disney Cruise Line as a crew member. I haven't been here for a while on this series, so I apologise for that, but I do have a super fun video for you guys today, which, I mean, I always like hearing about these kind of things when I watch YouTube videos, so I thought you guys might like to hear them too from my point of view, which is guest stories. Disney guests are fun. They're really fun. Some of them are really nice people, but a lot of the time, some of the things that they come out with are very questionable, a little bit silly, especially in my job, which is working with the kids in the Oceaneer Club and the Oceaneer Lab, and Edge and Vibe as well. Some of them come out with some corkers, let me tell you. So I thought I would recount some stories that I can remember. I have really bad memory and I didn't write as many down as I would have liked, so I don't have some like crazy guest stories for you today like I have seen on YouTube before, where like some people have like really wild wacky guests come up to them and like they go through it. But I haven't had that, touch wood, so far as a crew member, but I have had little funny things that have happened to me either on the ship working as a crew member or off the ship working as a crew member or as a guest myself when I've had a few hours off the ship from work in different ports. So yeah, let's start with that, shall we? So the first story that I have to talk to you about is going to be titled The One with the Boyfriend Theory. So this was in my first contract. I'd made friends with this girl during this cruise. I would say she was probably about 8 or maybe 7 or something like that. She wasn't that old. And she came up to me one day and she asked me if I had a boyfriend. And I was like, oh no, I don't have a boyfriend. And she turns to me and goes, but you have boobies. If you have boobies, surely that means you have a boyfriend. And I was like, that's not quite how it works. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she was insistent that whole cruise then to try and find me a boyfriend or find out who I liked or try and set me up with somebody. So she would ask all of my male co-workers, all of the people that worked with me in the kids club, if they wanted to go out on a date with me, which is very embarrassing. I just love that little naive little mentality that she had, that if you have boobs that means that you have a significant other, which I wish it was that easy, let me tell you. I don't know, I just thought that was really funny and really cute, that she assumed that that was eventually going to happen to her when she would find a boyfriend and then bam, work it one day and they were there. Bless her little heart. So the next story I have for you today is called The One with the Flows Raid. So for a little while in my third contract in the summer to like autumn 2019, I was working in the tween space on the Disney Fantasy, which is Edge, which is for 11 to 14 year olds. And Edge, just to give you a little bit of background on the fantasy where I worked, and I think the Dream as well, is located in the midship funnel on deck 13. So that's quite nearby the outdoor quick service food and beverage locations, one of which is called Flows, which is themed to cars. And yeah, one day, one cruise, the kids decided every day that they wanted to raid Flows, as it were. So it started off one day with you know, the little like paper cup things that you can put like ketchup and condiments and sauces in that you can get in like fast food restaurants and things like that. They decided to bring a load of those up and they were going to raid Flows with that. And then another day, or maybe the same day, I think this was all on the same day, they decided to bring up a whole plate of like loads of plates of fries, and then they got us in on it and they were like, do you guys want a drink? And we were like, yeah, okay, sure. I mean, just a little preface, when you're in the tween and teen spaces, you're not supposed to ask for food, but if they offered or if you suggested, hey, I could eat this right now or drink this right now, somebody might go and get it for you, but technically you weren't supposed to ask. So they asked us, do you want a drink? So they went and got us like 4 or 5 cups of the same drink, and then it escalated again and they brought whole pizzas up, and then it escalated again and they brought, I think, burgers, which was a wild time, let me tell you, because there was just so much food on this food table, which was great for us because we got to eat it all, but it was just wild because they kept coming up with more and more food and they'd be like, Flows Raid! And you'd be like, these kids, wow, okay. But yeah, it was an interesting time to say the least. The next story I have for you is when I was working in the Oceaneer Club one day. I was working in the Marvel room, and during that time in the Marvel room there was a program starting called Doctor Strange Mystic Arts. So on the Disney Fantasy we have 2 superheroes that come and do some shows for us. We learn the ways of the mystic arts with Doctor Strange, and then Thor also comes and it's Thor becoming worthy, and you learn how to wield a Thor hammer, and you learn about what it means to be a hero with compassion and strength and stuff like that. And in this particular show you have Doctor Strange, and in this particular part of the show he was being very serious. He was trying to deal with the Dormammu and portals and all of this, and this little girl goes up to him. She wasn't like that young, she was probably like 9 or 10. She goes up to Doctor Strange, she's like, "I want my mom." And he just looks at me, I look at him, he's trying to stay in character, I'm trying not to laugh, and I'm just like, go to the front gates. But I just, yeah, we sent her away obviously to get her message sent to her grown-ups so that she could get picked up. She wasn't scared, like she wasn't even in that room at the time when Doctor Strange was on. She just walked in the room, saw Doctor Strange and thought, you know what, he sounds like somebody that can go and get my mum. I don't know if she thought that he could, I don't know, whip up a portal or something to grab her, but yeah, I just love that Doctor Strange was mistaken identity there for a youth activities counsellor. Yeah, that was funny. I just love that the kid went up to Doctor Strange and said that. I'm like, how iconic. The next story I'm gonna title The One Behind the Curtains. So in the Oceaneer Club and the Oceaneer Lab, there is, on the Disney Fantasy, I think the Disney Dream, there's an area, well they're all the same really, in the Oceaneer Club and Lab, where they have a big open space which is usually like the floor area, and then they have an area that has a curtain with a screen. Those screens are known as like the Club and Lab screen, which is where usually some people that perform shows in front of. Sometimes it's visuals and things like that on the screens behind them. In open houses we just default it and have like the logo for the Oceaneer Club and the Oceaneer Lab on there. And I was situated in front of this one day during Embark Day on a Saturday on the Disney Fantasy. But just because a lot of the time people see those curtains, even if they're open or closed, and they always try and go behind there, and I'm always like, there's nothing back there, it's just backstage. You're not storing some mysterious thing back there that we're trying to keep a secret from you guys. It's literally just boxes and storage and really boring stuff. I promise there's nothing exciting back there, but they always try and do it. So I always try and, if I'm in an open house on Embark Day, place myself in that sort of area so that I can stop people from trying to open the curtains or like look behind there or like walk. Some people like just go straight towards walking through it. I'm like, where are you going? Stop. So this was a particular day where I was in the Oceaneer Club. I was doing that exact thing that I always try and do, and this guy, this grown man, comes up to me and he's like, excuse me, where is the Oceaneer Club? And I was like, sir, we're in it right now. And he looked like at the curtain area, he was like, oh, okay, I thought it was behind there. And I was like, no, this is, you're standing in the Oceaneer Club right now, this whole area with, you know, Andy's room, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixie Hollow, this stage area with the magic playfield that we stood on, this is the Oceaneer Club. And he was like, oh, okay, never mind. And then he, like, I don't know, he walked off and he assumed, because on the screen it said Oceaneer Club and it was literally just the default logo that happens when, kind of like on those old Windows computers and DVDs and things like that, where it'd have the logo bouncing around the screen, just so we have something on the screen so it's not a blank screen for open houses and things like that. But the curtains were like semi-open and you could see the screen in the middle of the curtains. So I don't know what he thought was behind there, and that the kids had to go through these mysterious dark curtains to get to the Oceaneer Club. But I was just like, where do you think you're stood right now? Like, don't you think there's a club back there for kids? Like, what kind of place do you think we're running here? It's not that kind of cruise ship. So the next story I have for you is the one with the yellows. That's just generally what I decided to title it, because youth activities counsellors, we wear these bright yellow costumes with a blue stripe in the middle. We kind of look like either a minion or like Flounder or something like that. I'll insert some pictures. But basically I was working on Castaway Cay one time. Castaway Cay has very similar tops, but they just have like more ventilation, so they have like little sort of breathable holes in them, and we wear like blue shorts that are like waterproof shorts. And I was working at the time on Castaway Cay towards the front of Scuttles. In the Scuttles Cove is the kids club on Castaway Cay. I was on one of the desk areas. There was like 3 or 4 people around me, and this woman, I want to say she was like one of the grandparents of a kid, or like, I don't know, she came up to me and she goes, oh, I really like your top, where did you get it? And I was just like, for a couple seconds I just sort of like stared at her blankly, like, is she being serious right now? And then like 2 seconds later she's like, oh right, yeah, that's your uniform, isn't it? That's a shame. I was like, yeah, But I'm just like, how did you mistake this ensemble, which there are 3 or 4 other people wearing around me? I'm wearing a name tag on it. It says youth team on it. How did you mistake that for a regular outfit? Like, what kind of fashion choice did you think I was making there? But I was just like, and the fact that she said it was a shame that she couldn't buy it, I'm like, are we being serious right now? You want to wear this ensemble? So yeah, that was an interesting time. I also get a lot in my yellow and blue costume with my name tag and youth team on my sleeve. Do you work here? And I'll be like, no, I just really like dressing up like this for the fun. Of course I work here. Yeah, I hear that a lot. But in this particular occasion, I'm just thinking, how did you think this was a regular outfit? Like, why? Why would you want to wear this if you weren't made to wear it because that was literally what you had to wear in your job? I have one, it's kind of not a funny guest story, it's kind of not necessarily like super sad. It does involve an animal, so if you don't like hearing things that might happen to animals, maybe this story isn't for you. It's not like horrific, nothing horrible happens. Well, I mean, it kind of does. I was in this place in Grand Cayman with my friend. They have a turtle sanctuary farm kind of place. They have other animals there too, and it's like this huge area. It's also got like activity places and like a water slide, and it has a little nursery where they have like, they hatch the little eggs and things like that, so you can see like tiny little baby turtles too. It has huge turtles, and then it has this whole area where you have these pools. Sometimes you can get in the pools with the little turtles. Not huge turtles, but they're also not like tiny little baby turtles. They're probably like this big to like that big, and you can also pick them up and hold them, and you're supposed to hold them over the water still so that you still have a stable grip on them. But if they slip out because they wriggle around or they get like nervous, they slip into the water. So you're supposed to hold them like this. This is a picture of me holding said baby turtle. One day we were there, we went and we were in that area where those baby turtles are that you can hold. There's people around that obviously work there as well to like monitor people and make sure that they're okay with the turtles, and there's an area where you can take a professional picture with them. And suddenly we hear, oh no, and like people gasping, and then a thud. It was somebody dropping a turtle. It was, oh, it was horrible, honestly. It was just, I'll never forget that woman like yelling oh no and like screaming because she'd done the one thing that you weren't supposed to do at this turtle farm, which was drop one of them. The guy that was there, obviously one of the people that knew how to handle the turtles, how to look after them and things like that, he like picked it up straight away, made sure it was okay, put it in the water and everything, and like looked after it. But it was just, I think everybody that was around there in that moment, their hearts just drop, and like they just were like, did that really just happen? Like, I can't believe this woman just dropped a turtle. It was because she didn't hold it close enough to the water. She'd like pulled it right out, so then when it did slip and slide out of her hands, it didn't slide into the water, it slid on the floor. It was just, oh, it was horrific for her, and she was like mortified and like so scared, and she kept being like, is it okay, is it okay? And the guy was like, please just like step back, like let me just figure out if this turtle's okay. I don't know what happened after that, because I don't know if like if you drop one of the turtles or something happens, or like you accidentally kill the turtle, that you get like kicked out or something. I think she got to stay, I'm not entirely sure, but she was, yeah, she was very scared and mortified in that moment because she could have really badly hurt a turtle. But yeah, that was that story. Pretty shocking moment in my time working for Cruise Line. I have one more story for you. It's a bit more of a happy story. Nothing quite as traumatic happens. In fact, something very exciting happens, and it's called the one with the I do's. So if you don't know, you can get married on Castaway Cay. There's an area towards the sort of middle of the beach area where they have a little sort of setup where you can get married, and it's super cute. One day I was working on Castaway Cay. I was stood on the snorkel area side that's nearest Pelican Plunge, so like the right side of the first section of Family Beach, if that makes any sense. I'll maybe try and pop a picture up somewhere so you can kind of see where I mean. And I was stood there monitoring the area where the people were coming in and out of the snorkel zone there, and to my right I noticed some of the technicians from the ship were setting something up. They were setting up a piano. I think my friend George was there. Hi George, if you're watching. And he was like, hi, and I'm like, hey, from my area. It was towards the end of the time I was supposed to be monitoring that area, so I was waiting for somebody to come and bump me to cover me so I could go back to Scuttles Cove to do the rest of my Castaway shift there. But they were running a little bit late, and then when I realised something was happening, I was like, maybe I don't want to be bumped yet, because then a vicar or a priest showed up and I was like, oh my god, there's gonna be a wedding. I was so excited. I'd always wanted to see a wedding on cruise line before, and I kept like looking over, and then like slowly people started trickling in. But yeah, there was the groom showed up, and then a couple of his family showed up, and I was like, oh my god, please nobody come and cover me yet, please nobody come and cover me yet. I just want to see the bride, I want to see her show up. Luckily that person that was supposed to bump me and cover for me was running quite late, so I was there for like 20 minutes more than I was supposed to be, but that was great for me because it meant that I got to see the bride show up. She pulled up on like a little cargo buggy, and she had this beautiful dress on. It was quite a heavy dress for Castaway Cay. If I was going to get married there, I would not wear this huge heavy flowing dress like she was. I would wear something quite light because it could get very hot on that island. But yeah, she showed up and I got to see them like reunite at the top of the aisle, and I think I got to see them like say some of their vows. It was so sweet. I was just stood there watching like, oh my god, this is adorable. I can't believe I get to watch a wedding right now. I wasn't really paying attention to the snorkel area as much as I should have been, but I didn't care because I was watching magic happen right next to me and people get married on Castaway Cay, which was just so romantic and adorable. So that's all the guest stories that I have for you today. I thought I would wrap up on a nice, happy, romantic one of people getting married. So yeah, I don't think I have many more stories, so I don't think there'll be a part 2 to this video, but those are just some of the things I have recalled from my time working for Disney Cruise Line so far, where some guests say some funny things or something shocking happens or something really romantic like that last story at the end happened. So if you like that video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos in this Living in a Fantasy series, I will leave them linked down below in the playlist. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. That would mean an awful lot to me if you did subscribe to me. I like making new friends and I would love for you to be one of those people too. And I will see you next time in another video. Goodbye.